Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. In 2025, our queer stories have reached 11 million streaming views, and Queer News Tonight has been the most watched LGBTQ news and lifestyle show in the world this year.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida. We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in the LGBT community. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It's Thursday, September 18th, and we are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show. Hotspots Happening Out is one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, in the same model as PBS and NPR, but designed for our LGBTQ community.
We support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ community and want to inform and educate on the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture.
Our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience. Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 11,000 LGBTQ streaming stories. We present South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fest, our nonprofit 501c3 magazine. Events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2025, more than 100 community leaders will host this show to support the LGBT community. Let's meet today's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome Gregg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ publications and websites. Welcome, Gregg.
How's it going, kids?
Yeah.
Good? Good?
Yeah.
Good.
Now let's welcome anchor Larry Farver. Larry has over 20 years of experience in human resources, acting, film, radio, TV, live events, parade float design, production, and casting. He's also a board member of the West Side Association. Welcome, Larry.
Thank you, Cindy. It's good to be with you both.
Yes.
And of course, how could we forget this one? Let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, the one, the only, Cindy Brown. Cindy has been an activist for the LGBTQ+ community for 35 years, working for or serving on many local nonprofit boards. She served as the founding executive director of Miami Beach Pride and currently sits on the LGBTQIA advisory board for Miami-Dade County. She also runs her own consulting company, Synergy, for nonprofits helping with finance, strategic planning, board structure, grants, and more. Welcome, Cindy.
Thank you. So happy to be here. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Cindy Brown, and let's queer up the USA view. WeHo and Fire Island face backlash for lowering pride flags over Charlie Kirk's death. In a move that stunned the queer community and this reporter across the country, pride and transgender flags in West Hollywood and Fire Island were lowered to half-staff this weekend following the death of far-right activist Charlie Kirk. The action came after a September 10th proclamation from President Donald Trump ordering all U.S. flags on public grounds to be flown at half-staff until September 14th. While some states, including New York and New Jersey, did not fully comply, flags in historic queer neighborhoods did, which has sparked outrage. In West Hollywood's Matthew Shepard Square, both the trans and progress pride flags were lowered. According to WeHo Times, someone posted a sign there reading, quote, "Shame on West Hollywood for lowering our flags in honor of a racist, transphobic, homophobic, Nazi-loving monster," end quote. City officials acknowledged community anger, but said they acted in accordance with Trump's order and local policy. The statement read, quote, "The city's action should not be interpreted as an expression of alignment with or endorsement of Mr. Kirk's political views," end quote, adding that the city council will review its flag policies going forward. Meanwhile, in Cherry Grove on Fire Island, the Black and Brown Equity Coalition condemned the lowering of pride flags at the dock. The group shared on Instagram, quote, "Don't make our joy honor our oppressor," end quote, citing Kirk's history of calling queer people a, quote, "a middle finger to God," end quote, and advocating violence against queer people. Even within the gayest place on earth, Wilton Manors, the rainbow pride and transgender pride flags flown at City Hall were at half-mast. Kirk, the founder of Turning Point USA, was shot and killed last week in Utah. Known for his anti-LGBTQ rhetoric, he once demanded doctors providing gender-affirming care face Nuremberg-style trials. For many, the half-staff flags felt like salt in an open wound. And I agree. You know, honestly, the president ordered U.S. flags to be lowered to half-staff. And I think it's unconscionable that cities like Wilton Manors, cities like, you know, in Fire Island, in L.A., where there are large gay populations, that those flags would be lowered as well. I guarantee the city of Miami Beach did not lower their pride flags because they buck the state and federal government often. But it's kind of like a slap in the face that demonstrates that because our flags are at half-staff, we are mourning him, which, you know, nobody should die in that terrible, violent way. I don't approve of that violence by any stretch, but I also am not honoring him.
Right. Yeah, and in these places, you know, they didn't align themselves with Kirk, but they aligned themselves with Drumpf, which is the same thing. And all I can do is shake my head at some of our leaders' inability to defy that orange malignancy. It's just shocking. It's embarrassing and it's shameful. I want to say thank you to New York and to New Jersey, and like you mentioned, to Miami for saying no.
You know, in the hypocrisy, you know, we had a politician, not an activist, and I'm not saying one is better than the other, but we had someone who was voted and elected, Melissa Horton,
in Minnesota.
a House Speaker from Minnesota. She and her husband and their dog were assassinated.
Nothing.
And nothing. And no calls for, you know, finding out who did it. You know, nothing from the president, to my knowledge.
They're hypocrites. They live on a double standard. And, you know, again, I don't condone this kind of violence in any way, shape, or form. But Charlie Kirk himself said the Second Amendment is so important that a few gun deaths are acceptable in order for us to have the Second Amendment. So, you know, he died for his cause.
And they were talking about gun violence right before he was shot.
Right,
exactly. And, you know, I think that this should be a lesson to a lot of lawmakers that really thoughts and prayers do not
No.
save lives.
No.
That is a big LGBTQ story for today, and there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Gregg Shapiro. Let's clear up drag culture. Rumours' Swirl, the RuPaul's Drag Race, was filmed in just 2 weeks. Here's what the winner says. The crown jewel of Drag Race UK Season 3, Crystal Versace, has finally cleared the air on a rumor that's followed her reign since 2021. For years, fans have speculated the 3rd season of the British spin-off was filmed in 2 weeks, a claim originally sparked by Willem on the Race Chaser podcast. Now, Crystal herself says the rumor was pretty much true. In a TikTok that's gone viral, the then 19-year-old winner confirmed, quote, "We filmed one of the shortest seasons ever. We did film in 2 weeks," unquote. She explained the production, which stretched across 10 episodes, had only 2 days off, adding, it was consistent, quote, "It was consistent filming, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., 10 p.m., every single day," end quote. Crystal also revealed how the COVID-19 pandemic made the experience even harder, saying the rules were strict as fuck with zero room for error. But not everyone remembers the same. Fellow finalist Ella Viday chimed in on TikTok writing, quote, "Babe, it was 3 weeks, but it was so intense," end quote. World of Wonder has never confirmed the exact timeline, but if Crystal's claim holds, that's 10 episodes shot in just 12 days, an exhausting pace by any standard. Drag Race UK is expected to return soon for its 7th season, with no official release date yet. Fans can still catch past seasons, including Crystal's whirlwind win, streaming now on BBC iPlayer. Well, I think that the necessity for strict as fuck rules with zero room for error makes sense if this was being done during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
2021.
Yeah.
That was like still the thick of it. It wasn't over.
No.
Please, I'm still not over. People are still being infected, but it makes sense that they
Right,
wanted to
of course.
just do it faster. Everybody could go home and be safe.
Right.
Yeah. And a production schedule like that's not unusual. I mean, I remember back in my New York
Yeah, you're the
days.
production guy.
Yeah.
Well, but being on the creative side, or being even just sometimes when I did background work in New York City, sitting on a set on a hot summer day in a wool coat because it was supposed to be fall or winter, riding around on a friggin' subway for 14 hours, you know, and that was just a little piece.
Yeah.
But sometimes if you're called back for the same production, you know, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and if they're on a schedule, they're going to knock it out.
Right.
So, girls, you have to toughen up if you want to
Exactly.
be on any of the drag shows.
That's right.
Yeah, imagine having to do the makeup every single. How long does that take?
Unless
and
you
then taking
sleep.
it off.
Do people
Can you
sleep in it?
Can they sleep in there?
Well,
She's
but
like,
they
spray
change
it
they
and sleep.
probably have to change up their looks. So I give them credit for that. I'm sorry if I was a little harsh on you before. I know you have to change up your looks, redo your makeup, and create things, but that's Hollywood. If you want to be in the business, you got to pay the price.
You heard it here. If you're going to be in the business, you got to pay the price. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Gregg Shapiro, and let's queer up sports. Record number of out LGBTQ athletes set for World Athletics Championships. History was made in Tokyo this week as more publicly out LGBTQ competitors took part in the World Athletics Championships than ever before. The 20th edition of the championships, the most prestigious in track and field outside of the Olympics, began on Saturday, September 13th, and runs through September 21st. More than 2,200 athletes from 198 countries are competing. According to Outsports, at least 13 of these athletes are publicly out as LGBTQ. That matched the tally recorded on the site's Team LGBTQ list for last year's Paris Olympics. Of that group, 8 returned to action in Tokyo. At the last championships in Budapest in 2023, Outsports tracked 9 out athletes, including American sprint star Sha'Carri Richardson, who captured gold in the 100 meters, and Spain's Maria Perez, who claimed double gold in race walking. Both women lined up again in Tokyo to defend their titles. Richardson was one of 3 Team USA athletes on the LGBTQ roster, tying the United States with Brazil for the most out athletes competing. Another American, hurdler Trey Cunningham, appeared on the entry list but was known to be an alternate. While the Olympics have leaned into celebrating LGBTQ visibility in recent years, World Athletics has not followed suit. The Federation has faced criticism for restrictive policies, including banning trans women from women's events and enforcing limits on athletes with differences of sex development. Tokyo 2025 also marked the first championships where all athletes in female categories were required to pass an SRY gene test to compete. The list of out athletes came from Outsports.com, where fans can find more details. I just have 3 words. Sissy that run.
Well, I think that, again, it's important, especially athletes, to come out. And I know it's a lot harder, unless you're an ice skater, for male athletes to come out. But it's a demonstration to the world. And I'm curious what these SRY tests are going to come up with, because there are a lot more chromosomal variants than XX and XY. So, I think that this could open up sports to a whole new opportunities, but also restrictions.
Well,
and maybe there will be more division, but we all know people, for whatever reason, are just more athletic. They are taller people make much better swimmers. Even Michael Phelps.
Oh yeah.
He has he's different because his body treats lactic acid differently. Lactic acid is what makes your muscles feel tired. So he has an advantage because the way his body metabolizes, he doesn't feel the burn as soon as other athletes do. So, there's so many variants in how athletes can perform by virtue of birth. Forget about even transgender athletes.
Right.
People who are born with certain genetic anomalies, which a lot of people are. How are they going to try and, police this?
Well, then you'd have to be hopefully consistent across the board. And, historically, you look back, probably going back a number of years, but there was a time where sometimes the doctors made the decision and the parents maybe or maybe didn't know.
Well, that's in the case of an intersex born, intersex is a real thing where a baby is born with both genitalia or ambiguous genitalia. They may have a uterus and what might look like a penis, very ambiguous genitalia. And in many cases, the doctor and the parents just made the arbitrary decision. And most of the time, they say, okay, you're going to be a girl.
Yeah.
because it's easier.
But the SRY gene test may, they're going to have to apply that across the board. And there might be
Absolutely.
some surprises for some folks out there.
Absolutely.
Like it or not.
Yeah. And I mean, I do think that it's all about fairness.
Yes.
But I also think that forever people are born with talent in this or talent in that.
Innate ability
and,
to do things.
You know, if you were born with these innate abilities, then that should be,
of course.
that should be fine.
Yeah.
You know, but.
And on a positive note, it's good that more and more people, I think, are able to come out. I think we're seeing more allies. I mean, and I can't quote which sports figure it was, but the NFL even.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's phenomenal, because typically that's something where I grew up as a pre-gay man as a kid, and I didn't feel comfortable around that environment because of who I was.
Yeah. Right.
And, that's great for kids who are coming out now.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why, popular artists and entertainers and athletes that are role models should come out.
Absolutely.
And we applaud, and congratulations to all of you queer athletes that are going to the games in Tokyo.
So it's safe to say you're both athletic supporters. Okay.
Just like you.
Yeah. All right. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Larry Farver, and let's queer up entertainment. Non-binary author scores $3 million deal for Romantasy. Hit Alchemised. Legendary Entertainment is betting big on a new queer inclusive voice in fantasy. The studio has acquired Alchemised, Romantasy novel by non-binary author Sen-Lin Yu, in a 7-figure deal reportedly exceeding $3 million. According to The Hollywood Reporter, this marks one of the highest prices ever paid for film rights to a book. Sen-Lin Yu, who uses they/them pronouns, shared their excitement in a statement saying that they were, quote, honored by Legendary's incredible enthusiasm for the project, end quote, and that they can't wait to see the world of Palladia come to life. The author is already a legend in fan fiction circles, known for their wildly popular Harry Potter Dramione stories, exploring the romance between Draco Malfoy and Hermione, thank you, co-anchor, Granger. Their earlier book, Manacled, took that fandom to a darker direction, imagining a world where Voldemort triumphed. Alchemised starts as a similar reimagining, but it's since grown into its own universe. The novel follows Helena Marino, a healer turned prisoner, whose survival depends on resisting the mind-bending power of a ruthless necromancer. Look that word up. It's set to be released on September 23rd with a massive first printing of 750,000 copies. The Romantasy genre has exploded in popularity, selling over 32 million books last year, nearly 50% more than the year before. Fans who grew up on Potter and Twilight now crave stories with adult themes, richer world building, and yes, more spice. The news also lands against the backdrop of J.K. Rowling's continued anti-trans advocacy, which has distanced many queer readers from her work. For LGBTQ audiences, Sen-Lin Yu's rise represents not just a new literary phenomena, but also reclaiming a fantasy storytelling from voices that have long excluded them. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm all about new genres and something new and exciting. Mm-hmm. And as much as Harry Potter has influenced many of our people, I know my nieces and nephews love those books. The fact that J.K. Rowling is anti-trans, I think, you have to look at, well, it's the stories, but, I don't celebrate her. So it's good to see somebody new on the block. Mm-hmm. And, certainly the whole genre is exciting. I think looking at Some of the stories they're talking about being a ruthless necromancer are very intriguing.
Yeah.
Maybe people are just sick of people talking back during the act. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, as an entertainment journalist who covers books, you can read my new books column in the current Washington Blade at washingtonblade.com. I am amazed at how many press releases and pitches I get every day from publishers pushing this romantasy fiction genre. I always say my life is already a romantasy. I don't need to read one. But yeah, it's popular. It's very popular.
Yeah, and all the fan fiction that's coming out of it. The Draco and Hermione fan fiction. My niece actually loves it. She listens to it all the time. And for those who do know the Harry Potter stories, which were really great stories, and they talked about supporting people who were different, and it's just so bizarre that the author has her espousing her views. But the messages in the stories are positive.
That's good.
But, Draco Malfoy and Hermione Granger were arch enemies.
Right, and the bad guy. Right?
Yeah, and the fan fiction, the fans do whatever they want. They take the characters and they make up stories about them. And
I'm sure authors must love that.
It keeps
take my story and just run with it now. Yeah.
No, well, it brings up
I guess,
a lot of focus on the original work as well. But this new thing, the alchemy, I might even read the book.
Or you get an audiobook too.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm taking my cruise in a few weeks. Maybe I'll get it on my iPad. There you go. Well, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Those are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. These anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ community.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform. Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and in sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Cindy Brown, and on behalf of these LGBT reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Gregg Shapiro and Larry Farver, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ world, we hope you will join us by embracing love, generosity, bravery, be transformative, and queer. Good night.